What is going on, folks? It is Hammerheads. This is Viking Stew, and it's late night. Should we try that again? It's late night Hammerheads with Viking Stew. Today, this Thursday.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Whew. What a day, what a day, what a day. I hope y'all had a good day. Scrolling through a whole bunch of photos and whatnot tonight. Lots of things to talk about. I found some kind of cool headlines, some things. Also, I want to talk about a couple of bands tonight that are from the past that I always love talking about these bands that maybe I've just discovered or something that I'm like, whoop, I need to talk about those guys because they had an album years ago. Like, you remember when I told you about um uh I-10? Do you remember when I told you about those guys? And they had written a whole bunch of songs that were done by other people. Heart did Alone. Um, let's see, Cold Look was done by Honeymoon Suite, and the song I Don't Want to Lose You was done by REO Speedwagon. So these kind of things. There were some other headlines that I keep seeing that pop up in my feed that's really, worth talking about. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the OZZY thing. They're getting ready to do this final show, and Ozzy's going to be in the throne. So did you guys see and I hate to even mention it. God, it pains me to mention it. Okay. How about we do this? The ridiculous thing over in Ohio. It's a building and they have lots of rock paraphernalia in it. And they've got a lot of people that are put in there that I don't know why they're put in there and why rock and roll isn't put in there. So anyway, but yeah, if you saw the induction for Ozzy, it was just lackluster, sad. But this throne, he was there on this throne, and so now they're going to be doing this flying throne. So I had this pulled up at one point. But anyway, what they're doing is this final Black Sabbath show, which they've done it multiple times. And so now this is going to be the latest in that. Ozzy Osbourne to perform from a throne at Black Sabbath farewell show. Now this was reported on last month in February. But this is from Billboard. This is an updated thing. Ozzy's longtime collaborator and guitarist Zakk Wylde teased that the frontman could be airborne during the next event. So here is the weird thing about it to me. What do you guys think about this? Ozzy, I just get this weird feeling that he's like a puppet at this point. And I think it gets to be a little sad sometimes. But who am I? I just lost a good buddy of mine. And he was so hyped up on having to perform that, it was not always to his best interest to be doing that. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of the way it is, right? The one thing I did notice is that there were many, many times over Ozzy's career, and if you notice, I'm looking at all this stuff over here because I'm trying to, I'm pulling in some of these shots. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what, doing these shows and doing this stuff is fantastic. I love talking about it. I like doing it. I got so much stuff in my head to talk about. But still, there's a point at which you're like, I didn't get everything in here in time. So the one thing I did notice though, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, Ozzy's been kind of a throne guy over the years, right? There's been many times he's been on a throne. So this isn't a new thing, as we know. Um, and as you think about it, then you start to realize it. You're like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I'm gonna bring in all this stuff, okay? I don't know if it'll accept it. I got a lot of stuff, but here's a little. Oh, you know what? Oh, I've got a lot of files in here. All right. Um, so let's do a little bit of this first. I'm gonna dump some of this stuff, but what I wanted to tell you about, just so I can get some of these photos out of the way, let's kind of talk about this so we can bring in some of these photos of Ozzy. Do you remember I showed you, I got the Rick Springfield things. Did I show you this photo? Yeah, I think I did. So anyway, here we are. Went back at the Wildey Theater, and another great night with Angel. And here at the end, you'll see Tommy. Tommy is the new bass player with Angel. Took over for Steve, and great guy, great bass player, great stuff. He played Rickenbacker, and just this was a great show. They're always great. However, they've changed up the set list a little bit, and man, they played some killer tunes. And I do have a copy of the set list that I can read to you here as well. And it's just had some great, a lot of the really heavy duty stuff, and a lot of their great. Some of my all time favorite tracks, because I like the real heavy. I like it hard and heavy kind of stuff, and a lot of their stuff was just wonderful. So they opened up with On the Rocks. They did they did Mirrors, Can You Feel It, Wild and Hot, The Torch, which is from their latest record, Broken Dreams, The Fortune, which is from the album prior to the new one, We Were Wild, which is also from that album previous, and Don't Leave Me Lonely. Telephone Exchange, that was fantastic to hear that. Ain't Gonna Eat Out My Heart Anymore, Pressure Point, Got Love If You Want It, Feeling Right, Rock and Rollers, and of course they did Tower, and it was such a great show. But the energy was great. The crowd was awesome. I got a few pictures here I can show you. There's Billy Orico up there, and there you go, Punky. There's Billy again. There's Charlie, Cal, their keyboard player. There you go. There's Frank back there behind Punky. Let's see here. There you go. Some of the shots are pretty good. That's why I fly through these, because some are better than others. Some are okay. Most of them are okay. There's a cool shot of Frank there. And I just keep shooting them just to see if I can get that one shot, right? These new phones are pretty nice. You can shoot a lot from the balcony up there and get some good shots. Again, I realize a lot of these are kind of close, kind of the same, but I'm just flipping through all of them. There you go. We were saying this is the 50th anniversary of their first album, and I may need to leave something up here real quick while I run and grab something to show you. Fortunately, I took that first album, and there you go. There's a cool shot. The big wide shot. My friend and I were thinking, though, for the 50th, we really wish they would have had a little bit more of a big, stage setup, and had just a little more of something. The music was great, though. I mean, I hadn't expected anything like that. I mean, this is not a, it's got to be tough, to be out on tour like this at this point in time, and keep things rolling, recording new albums. I mean, there are bands out there that are still touring. They're not recording new albums. They're either they're, well, some of them are recording albums you don't really care to listen to. They're just recording shit to get it out, and it's not anything that, you know, a lot of people would want to want to have out there. I don't know. I mean, I've thought about that quite often when I'm listening to albums. I'm like, does anybody, did you guys really care to put something good out? Not that there aren't any of these bands that, that aren't putting out great stuff. I mean, there's tons of bands that are still putting out great albums. And even like my buddy Ron Keel, they got some great stuff out on that Keel World album. It's really cool. So, you know, check it out. It's really, it's great stuff. But a great show. I'm looking forward to seeing them the next time they're in town and hanging out. Always great to see them. Danny did say that they're working on a new album. So the one thing I said, and it won't stick. I know it won't stick. The one thing I mentioned to him, I said, could you guys do Even Now, which was on Frank's solo record that he did with Oz Fox. And he said, well, it's on Frank's record. I go, I know, but I'd just like to hear it all angelized, because it was written by Frank and Barry Brandt. So I mean, it is truly like a classic. It's got that classic Angel sound, and I would just love to see, I'd love to have the Angel band put their whole big spin on it and do a recording for the next album, but doesn't sound like it's going to happen. But anyway, wishful thinking. Nonetheless, sometimes you got to just keep wishing about it. Let's see if I can get some of these more photos back in here again. Let's see if we can do this and do this. And let's try it again. Here's my little, let's see if I can get this little tribute piece in here. There you go. Little tribute piece to my buddy Guy. And he was a consummate Black Sabbath fan, just huge Sabbath fan. And I miss him. I miss him. I realized I loaded in a photo I'll tell you about here in a little bit. But look at this. So we have, here you go. These aren't going to be in perfect order. There's Ozzy in 2000 in the Little Nicky movie. See, there's a throne there. Here he is back when I saw him for the Diary of a Madman time frame. Speak of the Devil right in there. And he had his throne there. And let's see, he also here's a piece of promotional stuff from Throne of Darkness. And here's a different kind of throne. Oh my God. See? A Throne King. Here you go, from 1986, from the laser disc of the Ultimate Ozzy. See, he's got that throne he came in on. Then there was the throne for No Rest for the Wicked. Look at that. And here they are. Here's Sharon and Ozzy on a throne. I mean, it's always been a throne guy. Now, here's a classic for us here in St. Louis in his Blues jersey when he got busted at the Alamo, right? Was that the Alamo busting when he did that? So, oh my God. There's Bark at the Moon tour. Ozzy was arrested in, this is Memphis, Tennessee, sorry, on a misdemeanor charge of public intoxication. The arrest came at 12:30 a.m. On Memphis Beale Street, where the Prince of Darkness was said to have, been staggering drunk. Ozzy was held for 5 hours until he sobered up. He was then released without a court date. How about that? Gotta love it. So anyway, but yeah, always a throne guy. It's kind of interesting. But we've talked about this before. I don't know if you saw the induction thing. It wasn't good. I was really disappointed. Um, but let's see if we can see some more of this. No, I don't want to sign up. Ozzy Osbourne has confirmed he'll perform from a throne, possibly even a flying one, at what's being billed as Black Sabbath's final ever performance. Let's see. If set to take place July 5th at Villa Park in Birmingham, England, the Back to the Beginning show will see the Prince of Darkness reunite with his legendary bandmates for one last ride, albeit in a slightly more seated fashion. The 76-year-old singer, who has dealt with neck and spinal injuries as well as Parkinson's disease, now occasionally uses a wheelchair. But he's determined to make this moment count. Well, I think Sharon is. Ozzy's longtime collaborator and guitarist Zakk Wylde teased the frontman could be airborne during the event, quite literally. With Oz in his throne that just flies over the stadium or whatever, where he shoots out buckets of water and does everything like that, Wylde said in a new interview with Riff X's Metal XS. So if Oz has a great time and it's just like, I want to go out on the road again, it's just like, good, let's do it again. He added, Ozzy was just sitting in the chair and he was singing Mama, I'm Coming Home, and it sounded great. So hopefully we'll just do this. And then Oz will go, let's just fire up the machine again and we'll do another tour. Everybody's going to be playing Sabbath songs. It's going to be pretty mind-blowing, he added. Although Ozzy won't be delivering a full set, the Back to the Beginning concert is shaping up to be a metal fan's dream. The lineup features both Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, alongside other big names such as Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax. Other high-profile artists such as Pantera, Lamb of God, Mastodon, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, and recent Grammy Award winners Gojira are also included. I'm not planning on doing a set with Black Sabbath, but I am doing little bits and pieces with them, Ozzy recently explained on his Sirius XM show. I am doing what I can where I feel comfortable. I am trying to get back on my feet. When you get up in the morning, you just jump out of bed. I have to balance myself, but I'm not dead. I'm still actively doing things. So there you go. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope he sounds good. Rob Halford sounds great. But it's and I'm glad they're out there doing it as long as they sound good. If it comes to backtracks, that would be terrible. I would hate that. But that's how that goes. We'll see what happens. So anyway, tell me what you think about that. I'd be really interested in knowing what you think about him doing that. I have a latest obsession, if you will, that I've been checking out a band that I did know about way back when, but I never got into it. Let's see. This was their first EP back in 1983. Martial Law. It's a band called Obsession. It had a cool logo, and it's a great band. This when I listening to this stuff reminds me of when I was just talking about Malice. I could put this album, Scarred for Life, which was their first full-length album in 1986, 3 years after they put out that EP. Put this right up next to License to Kill by Malice. It's some people might determine that it's a better this Obsession album is a little better than Malice. I don't know if that's the case, but they both you could sit there and listen to both, I would think, and be very happy. Then they had their Methods of Madness, came out in 87. And then they also put out a couple more. They put out in the 2000s, they put out Carnival of Lies, and they had one other one. I'm not sure where that went. Like I say, it's kind of weird when some of the photos just don't come in. Let me see if I can pull it up. I can tell you. Nonetheless here. There it is. Oh, come on. Ah, that's a silly thing. Yeah, Throne of Darkness was another one of their albums in the 2000s. So, check them out if you haven't heard Obsession. You'll love them. I mean, if you're into the metal thing and you were digging like the Malice thing, really really good stuff. Here's another album. This one I need to double check the yeah, it's 2003 is when this one came out. And I was just talking about them the other day because I sat in and jammed with a band recently. It's a friend of mine. Hey, Brian. Um, and there was also another gentleman who's in that same band named Ricky, and he's their drummer, and he went to Angel with me. That's who you saw in the picture. So it's this band called Strange Celebrity. So they have this band. It's a young band. They have, I say young, they're half my age. So um, they're putting together this thing where it's 90s and 2000s and stuff like that. So I jumped in to jam with them the other day and to get them some sound equipment to use and give them some advice on playing out, things like that. And the stuff we were playing was Nirvana, was Foo Fighters, stuff like that, and other things in that realm. But some of the music just reminded me of Strange Celebrity. This was the only album that they did. And then Tracy Ferry was the bass player in this band. Tracy would then go on to be in Striper after Timothy Gaines was out for a while, and Tracy Ferry hopped in. That's kind of how I got into this, because in the early 2000s I was working for St. Louis Music, and a buddy of mine there said, "Hey, I got this CD," so he threw it to me, and I listened to it and I fell in love with it. I really like it. There's some great stuff on here. And I'm trying to remember if it's Clutch that my friend said that they remind him. My guitar player, I think, mentioned that, because I said there's a track that I'd like to play off of it, and he was mentioning that's what it sounded like to him. But he threw this to me and he goes, "Yeah, the bass player in this band, Strange Celebrity, is going to be in Striper now." I'm like, "Wow, okay, well, cool." One of my favorite bands. One of my favorite bands. So yeah, so check that out. Strange Celebrity. I Can't Breathe is probably my favorite song on the album. But then there's other tracks that are kind of I don't want to call it verve pipe-ish, but Dangerous is one of my favorite songs on there too. It's kind of a eh, I think it in no way sounds like She's So High by Tal Bachman, but it's got that same kind of fear of this woman, this guy is built up to be amazing. She's dangerous. So she's dangerous to me. So yeah, but great stuff. Strange Celebrity. Also, there's so many things going on right now. I saw this list. It was a top 10 rock. It's 10 rock bands who were more successful after abandoning their original sound. Which, I mean, I don't know. It's by Paul Elliott. This is in Screen Rant. Sometimes it is necessary for a rock band to abandon their original genre and incorporate new elements to help further their success. Well, I mean, really, no shit. I mean, you get in a band and you put things together and you're like, this is great. And then after a while, you have to make a business decision, right? It's not like they're like, there comes a point at which members can change. That happened with Henry Paul Band and many others, where they're like, well, we really need to go in another direction. So I'm gonna mention one of those, and this is 10. I mean, God knows there's been many more. So So whatever the case may be, says many bands evolve over the course of their careers with the hope of reaching the biggest stages possible. When it pays off, it can help launch the careers of some of the biggest bands ever, such as Journey, Bee Gees, Fleetwood Mac. All right. So let's take a look here. Number 10, they have Judas Priest. And they say that they went from a blues rock, which is true. If you're a blues rock, really, if you're looking at Rock-a-Rolla, they came out as blues rock. They kind of jumped pretty quick to heavy metal. When you look at Sin After Sin, and so there's Rock-a-Rolla, Sad Wings of Destiny, Sin After Sin. So Sin After Sin, they have a lot more on there that's more metal. And then they would jump to, I mean, let's face it, they went from heavy metal to heavy pop metal at some point. And then they went back to metal, right? Because when you know, they jumped in, and even British Steel, they had Living After Midnight, Breaking the Law. Those were more, especially Living After Midnight. That is pure pop metal right there. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love that record. But man, when they when they hit Point of Entry, that was rough. But that was even more pop metal. But still, they had some great metal tracks on there, you know, Solar Angels and others that were great. But really pop stuff. So they kind of went, you know, again, blues rock, real heavy on Rock-a-Rolla, and then shifted into the heavy metal, and then went pop metal. That says Beastie Boys. They went from hardcore punk to rap rock. That's interesting. You know, and I think about Devo like that. You know, Devo did the same thing. There's one they didn't even mention, but their first two albums were new wave punk is what it was. And then they get to that third record, you know, Freedom of Choice, and it's a lot more straight ahead keyboards, pop, synth stuff that was picked up by other bands like the Go-Go's and stuff like that. So yeah, I still remember reviewing the Beastie Boys' License to Ill in college. Seems so out of place for me, but I did it. I enjoyed the record. I thought it was good. I did say that. So don't think I ripped on it. In fact, I had better things to say about it than I did the Boston record that came out around that same time. So there you go. Bee Gees went from pop to R&B. Now that's true. That's true. They did, you know, somewhere along the line, I would suppose, I guess they started making the shift. I want to say they started making the shift in main course. It says in the 70s marked the era of disco and soul. A lot of successful bands explored different sounds during this period, and one of them was the Bee Gees. Throughout the 60s and into the 70s, the band was primarily known for their pop sound. However, in 74, when they released their 12th studio album, Mr. Natural, the band began incorporating elements from the R&B genre into their music. By 75, the new sound was established with the record Main Course. There you go. See, I hadn't even read that. Falling in reverse, they say, going from emo to rap metal. Not familiar. Number 6, AFI, from hardcore punk to post-hardcore. I'll take your word for it. Not familiar. Goo Goo Dolls going from punk rock to alternative rock. Buffalo, New York. What do you know about that? Number 4, they've got Bring Me the Horizon going from deathcore to alternative metal. And that's another one that I'm not really into. Here we go. Number 3 is Fleetwood Mac. It's kind of strange that you go from Bring Me the Horizon to Fleetwood Mac. You would think that they'd have other ones that, like Devo or something where they, yeah, but you know, that's okay. Bringing in the new stuff. Fleetwood Mac went from a blues rock, which they did. I mean, that was really with Peter Green, who wrote two songs that were covered by Judas Priest. And they had Green Manalishi with the two-pronged crown, and oh goodness me, it was which was on Killing Machine / Hellbent for Leather, and Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise, I do believe is what that song was. Don't have to be wise. Is that what it was? No, Better by You, Better Than Me. Better by You, Better Than Me. That's what it was. Because I'm like, it wasn't that. That was from British Steel. And I'm eager now to take a look here and see. Glenn Tipton wrote that with KK Downing and Rob Halford. You don't have to be old to be wise. I still think that song is pretty cool because they talk about the ant and the rubber tree plant. I just, that's what I always heard in there. And now I'm looking at the lyrics going, does it not say that? Yeah, I don't know. It always sounded to me like they said about the rubber tree plant. But here they have no longer pre-planned. Is that what it is? I don't trust lyrics when they're out on the internet especially because of what they did with REO Speedwagon. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So good stuff. What else did we have here? Also, they had this thing. When did this run? It's March 11th. This came out. Lars Ulrich hates one Metallica song so much they've not played it live in 36 years. Does anybody know what that is? Anybody? Anyone? Let me put this in here. Hey, y'all. And you know what? You know what else? Let's go in here and see if we can find strange celebrity. I'll put a link in the chat. Let's put in full album. And let's get that in there for you. Let's Back to Life. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Copy link. And hopefully this will do it correctly. One can only hope. One can only hope. There we go. Now you can check out Strange Celebrity. So having always done things their own way, with little regard for outside opinion, discussions about Metallica albums cause more arguments than any other band in the history of heavy metal. Even when things get heated about the only 10 albums within the genre, it always appears as though everybody loves the first 4 Metallica albums. This is true. The Black Album may have ensured that the band could live in houses made of solid gold for the rest of their lives. But a lot of people out there have beef with its hard rock direction. But everyone loves the first 4. I don't know. I love the Black Album. It's sure recorded better than And Justice for All. And Justice for All is so... It's too tinny. That's the problem. In one of the more surprising stories to emerge from Metallica's camp in recent years, Lars Ulrich's least favorite Metallica song comes from one of their most popular albums, ignoring Saint Anger or Nonsense side project with Lou Reed. Lars believes the band's worst song comes from their hottest period, and it's not the much maligned Escape from Ride the Lightning. Much maligned? Why is Escape maligned? You may disagree with his assessment, but here's what the Danish Maverick has to say when discussing the worst song Metallica ever wrote. Wow. There shouldn't be an argument given the quality of the songs on the album, but And Justice for All receives the most varied responses of all Metallica's albums. Some bemoan the fact of bass guitar, long run times, and hope you like the drums approach to the productions. Others consider it the pinnacle of Metallica's thrash output. Metallica's set list choices speak loudly about their internal feelings on an album, and plenty of Justice tracks have been live staples for decades. One, Blackened, Harvester of Sorrows are all regularly given outings. Um, what's more surprising is that Metallica haven't played Eye of the Beholder in full since the Damaged Justice tour in '89, which I was there for that. I went and saw that Queensryche opened up when I saw them. With the song being folded into an Injustice for All medley that is excellently captured on the band's Live Shit, Binge, and Purge collection, the chances of it being played again are virtually nil, owing to one of the band's founding members essentially despising its existence. Why Lars dislikes Eye of the Beholder so much? In a particularly revealing interview to the Vulture in 2020, Lars Ulrich's hate for the Eye of the Beholder is on record. There's a song called Eye of the Beholder on the Justice album, he explains. Wherever I hear that song, it sounds kind of like, I guess we don't want to be super disrespectful to it, but it sounds really forced. It sounds like you put a square peg in a round hole. It sounds like it's got two different tempos. Interesting. So he explained the two tempos further by saying there's kind of a 4/4 feel in the intro and on the verses, and then I think the choruses are more like a waltz tempo. It literally sounds like two different worlds rubbing up against each other. It sounds very awkward to me, he summarizes. I'm not a huge fan of that song. Wow. Hey, if anybody's got any questions, chiming in, come on in and let me know. Put something in the chat. Let's see here. One other thing that I wanted to mention here. There's a ton of things I want to mention, but I'll get some more of those together. One big thing that I saw that I thought was really, really cool is Lou Gramm is to help out as Kelly Hansen misses more Foreigner shows. I don't know if anybody's heard about this. Let me see if I can save this. I think I was trying to, and it wouldn't do it for me. So let me see if I can find this on my system here. Let's see what we find out. Hope everybody had a great day today, man. It was an interesting, trying day for me. I was glad to get done and go hang out with my friend and chat for a bit, have some coffee, and then get home and went and saw a friend today. That was kind of wild. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's convert that real quick. There we go. Let's do this. Foreigner. There we go. All right. So let's see if we can get this into the right spot. And looks like we're on our way here. Hold on. Sorry. Especially, in the chat, guys, think of anything that you may have heard recently that you really like, or something maybe that I pointed out that you really dug. All right, here we go. If I can get this in here real quick, and I'll get this graphic put up here so you guys can check it out while I am reading this. There we go. Pop on in. There you go. Here's what they had. There's their headline. Foreigner singer Kelly Hansen has revealed that he will not tour with the band when they perform in Latin America this spring, but a special guest will be stepping in. Some issues have forced me to limit appearances outside of the USA this year, and this means, unfortunately, I will miss Foreigner's South American run, he said in a statement via Blabbermouth. However, our incredible bandmate, Luis Maldonado, has been recording some of our hits in Spanish, and he will be handling most of the vocals along with original Foreigner singer Lou Graham, who will be guesting with Foreigner for those shows. I know they will smash it, he said. The tour is scheduled to begin April 28th in Mexico City. It remains unclear what issues Hansen is currently handling in relation to his international appearances. It was previously announced that Hansen would also not appear with the band when they perform in Canada this coming October and November. When asked about the matter, Foreigner's publicist responded with the following: circumstances prohibit Kelly from spending too much time outside of the U.S., so he will be sitting this one out. Jordy Brown will be appearing at all shows in this tour. So there you go. Wow. So let's see. What is? Oh, and then let's see. Let's see. What is this? Fellow rockers rallying behind Bad Company's Rock Hall case. What is that? It took a long time for Bad Company to land nomination for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. See, that's what I'm talking about. Now that they finally are on the ballot, many of the music's biggest stars are championing the band's case for induction. I mean, how stupid is this? You Jesus. You have to have people rally to get Bad Company. Bad Company into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fuck. What an epic journey the music of Bad Company has been on, Robert Plant wrote to X. As effective now as it was all those years ago, a cool groove from the Swan Song Boys. See, Swan Song Records was a label established by Plant and his Led Zeppelin bandmates in '74. Bad Company was one of the first signings, and the group's debut album was a massive, can we say that again? A massive, can we say it again? A massive, good Lord, success for band and label alike. Plant's social media message was accompanied with a link for fans to vote for Bad Company's induction. In the business, we call Bad Company singer Paul Rodgers the voice, Alice Cooper explained during a Q&A session on the Rock Legends cruise, because he's just one of the best singers out there and one of the nicest guys ever. He had some physical problems lately, but I certainly voted for him. Cooper has also shown support for Bad Company on social media, as has Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood and Journey's Neil Schon. The latter rocker called it a sin that both Bad Company and Free, Rodgers' earlier band, haven't been inducted. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, now look at that. Meanwhile, Sammy Hagar posted a video alongside Rodgers, who he referred to as my hero. Awesome. Paul Rodgers had as much influence on my singing as any singer of my time, the Red Rocker added in the video's caption. This is probably one of the only good things Howard Stern has said lately. Vote for Bad Company. It's an easy decision. Let's see. The wave of support for Bad Company feels similar to what Foreigner experienced last year. Despite impressive resumes, both groups endured decades of neglect. Okay, I've talked about that enough. That's bullshit. That's just stupid shit. MC5 isn't there yet. Ted Nugent wanted to induct MC5. There's also this story about Kip Winger doesn't want to pull a Kiss with Winger farewell. This is from March 20th. Kip Winger said he won't rule out future performances with Winger, even as they embark on a series of farewell tours in various parts of the world, joking that he didn't want to wind up on a decade-long goodbye run like Kiss. At some point, I'm going to play a final show with the band, the namesake frontman told White Line Fever TV. You can watch the interview below. I don't know when it is, but that's not to say I might not do a cruise or something. I don't really know. I'm not going. Hey, this is the last show we are ever going to do because, well, hey, Kiss did it for 10 years. So Winger will play a series of farewell shows in Japan and Australia over the next month, touting the Down Under shows as the first and final ever Australian tour featuring the original lineup. The band is also set to appear at Maryland's M3 Rock Festival in May, performing alongside the likes of Sebastian Bach, David Lee Roth, and Rat Stephen Pearcy and Warren DeMartini. So there you go. Okay, let's take a look at this, and then we'll wrap this up. The best album by New Wave's 15 biggest artists. When I get done with this, I'm going to mention again one of my all-time favorite New Wave albums, because 10 to 1 it will not be on this list. The best album by New Wave's 15 biggest artists. B-52's debut album in 79, Blondie, Parallel Lines in 78, The Cars in 78 with their debut, The Clash, London Calling in 79, Elvis Costello, This Year's Model in 78, The Cure, Disintegration, and wow, 10 years later, Depeche Mode's Violator in 1990, Devo, Are We Not Men in 78, Duran Duran, Rio in 82. Let's see here. Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams in 83. The Go-Go's, Beauty and the Beat in 81. New Order, Power, Corruption, and Lies in 83. Synchronicity by the Police in 83. Although, New Wave, okay. All right, I mean, Pretenders' debut album in 1980. Talking Heads, Remain in the Light in 1980. So yeah, those are what they figure of the top 15 bands. Is that what it said? So yeah, those were the best albums by New Wave's 15 biggest artists. Okay. So again, if you've never heard it, Bill Nelson, who was in Bebop Deluxe, when he stepped away from Bebop Deluxe, did Red Noise, Bill Nelson's Red Noise. And the album was called Sound on Sound. And it's very awesome. It's one of the best things I've ever heard New Wave wise. I was always into Gary Newman. You know, that's what kills me is they don't have Gary Newman on here. I mean, it could have had Gary Newman on there before you had any of these other ones, because he influenced a lot of that stuff that was on this list. You know, that's not going to get upset about it. It is what it is. As far as rock history goes, ABBA recorded Mamma Mia after nearly letting it go 50 years ago today. 45 years ago, when Iron Maiden dared to challenge Judas Priest. Excuse me? Close. 45 years ago, when Iron Maiden dared to challenge Judas Priest. This comes from March 7th by Brian Rowley. As frontrunners of the burgeoning new wave of British heavy metal movement, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden made perfect sense as tour mates, and the latter were wise to create some healthy competition when they joined the former's British Steel tour on March 7th, 1980. Both bands typified the subgenre coined by the British press, which fused the technicality of heavy metal with the speed and intensity of punk rock. They rubbed elbows with the likes of Def Leppard, Motorhead, and Saxon, even though several of those groups rejected the classification. Now, a lot of bands dislike being co opted into music journalists, manufactured movements, and lazily pigeonholed, but I like the idea of the new wave, Judas Priest frontman Rob Halford reflected in his 2020 memoir, Confess. I figured after years of being ignored, it was nice for metal to get a bit of attention for a change. It felt like validation. So there you go. There's a headline on here too. John Five's failed first attempt to get Gene Simmons' autograph. And how Van Halen's Everybody Wants Some was born at a concert. Interesting. And it goes on in this okay, here you go. Iron Maiden threatened to blow Judas Priest off stage every night. On the eve of the tour, Iron Maiden did a music press interview in which their then singer, Paul Di'Anno, said they would blow Judas Priest off the stage every night, Halford recalled. I wasn't remotely bothered by this because they were wrong, and A, they were wrong, B, that was the kind of thing cocky young bands were supposed to say. We had tried to do it to every major band we had supported, so why shouldn't they? I found it funny. Judas Priest guitarist KK Downing didn't share Halford's sentiment. He was offended and outraged by the comment and demanded that we kick Maiden off the tour, Halford wrote. The rest of us said that would be a daft overreaction to a flippant remark, but he was absolutely livid. Cooler heads prevailed, and Judas Priest launched the European leg of the British Steel tour at Cardiff University in Wales on March 7th, 1980, with Iron Maiden in tow. Despite both bands' buzz and mutual commitment to excellence, they didn't fraternize much off stage, except for one potentially awkward moment that luckily didn't escalate. We didn't really hang out and banter with Maiden much on that tour, but maybe I took Di'Anno's comment that he would blow Priest off stage too literally, because the one night we got drunk together, I tried to seduce him, Halford wrote. Oh my God. We went to my room to carry on drinking, but I was too pissed to try anything, and he was too pissed to even know what I was wanting to try. Oh my God. He added, I think that was definitely for the best. Oh, Lord. Oh my God. That's brutal. What a way to end, right? Judas Priest albums ranked. They have Demolition, Nostradamus, Jugulator, Point of Entry, Turbo, Ram It Down, Rockarola, Redeemer of Souls, Angel of Retribution, Firepower at number 10. Okay. Sin After Sin at number 9, Invincible Shield, number 8, Hellbent for Leather, Killing Machine at number 7, Defenders of the Faith at number 6, Painkiller at number 5, Sad Wings of Destiny at 4. I don't think I agree with this. Screaming for Vengeance at 3. Okay, I do not agree with this. I don't know if you guys would either. I doubt it. Stained Class at number 2. Don't get me wrong, and please do not get me wrong. British Steel at number 1. Really? Screaming for Vengeance at number 3 and Stained Class at number 2. I don't know. I I don't know about that. Stained Class is a great record, and I like it. I still have it on 8-track and vinyl and CD. So, but at number 2, all right. So just as Screaming for Vengeance defined Priest in the 80s, Stained Class is arguably no, no, no. Can I say it one more time? No. Stained Class is arguably their definitive 70s album. The perfect blend of past and future coalesces into a selection of monster tracks, including the speed metal prototype Exciter. Speed metal? It's fast, but it doesn't have the speed metal feel, especially like, I don't know. I don't know. No. Nope. 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 That's Hellbent for Leather. Was that. And then British Steel just whoosh, took over from there. Yeah, no, that's not right. What I tell you what I am gonna do. But between now and the next show, I'm gonna take these albums and I'll put them in my order, and you guys see what you think. And then I'll review this with you guys. We'll put both of them up, and we'll see if you agree more with this or if you'll agree more with mine. I mean, they did the right thing putting Demolition at the end, starting there. So they did a good job with that, because Demolition was just not cohesive. And I might have to listen to Nostradamus tomorrow. I might have to throw that on and just, listen to that and see. I didn't really do a big full deal on that. And they got Jugulator there. And then Point of Entry. I don't know. All right. We're going to have to look at it. We'll get it and we'll see what we think. Lots of cool news. So lots of cool things happening. There's evidently the other thing I wanted to mention before I go, because it was important to mention. Did you guys see that there is a Billy Joel like a documentary piece that's coming? It's on one of the streaming services. It's not this. I don't think this is it. Is that okay? Is it And So It Goes? It's going to be on HBO. New Billy Joel doc on HBO will dive into subjects not explored before. The network announced Billy Joel and So It Goes, a 2-part documentary directed by Susan Lacey, out this summer. This is from yesterday, by Thomas Meer from Rolling Stone. Yay, Rolling Stone. New Piano Man documentary is on the way. On Wednesday, HBO announced Billy Joel and So It Goes, a 2-part documentary about the artist's life and music and the meaning behind his songwriting. Susan Lacey, who created American Masters and directed the Spielberg documentary for HBO, will also produce and direct the 2-part film, meant to be an expansive portrait of the life and music of Billy Joel, according to its official synopsis. For those who think they know Joel's story, as well as those who are not as familiar, I believe this 2-part film is both a revelation and a surprise. Lacey said in a press release, "I was drawn to his story as someone who knew little at the outset and was astounded at how autobiographical his songs are and how complex his story is. The film project will explore how loss, love, and his life struggles fueled his songwriting. It's set to feature never-seen performances, home videos, personal photos, and lengthy interviews with the people in his vicinity." So there you go. Tom Hanks, Gary Goetzman, Todd Milliner, Sean Hayes, and Steve Cohen will serve as executive producers, while Emma Pildis joins as a producer. Blah, 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 blah. That's about enough about that. Then, last but not least, let's take a look at this This is one of my favorite pet peeves and something that drives me nuts. This JBL ad with all these people. This is a bunch of older people in their little scooters, and they've got their JBLs on here. The thing that's driving me nuts is this where people just play their stuff out in public and act as if everybody wants to hear it. I don't can these people not just buy headphones? Why would they want to promote it like that? I don't get it. So anyway, hope y'all are having a good day so far. I mean, it's late now. It's 11:02. We got an hour left of the day. And but yeah, I hope everything is good. I hope you've enjoyed this tonight. It's a late night thing. I thought I was going to do it last night, but I got a phone call from a good buddy of mine, and we were talking about bands that'll be on the show. And then we were talking about Rockin' Pod. Rockin' Pod is coming up in Nashville, coming up soon, and I think I might be heading down to check that out. I just got to make some contacts and see what's happening. But I'm going to get down there and hang out and hopefully get to chat with my buddy Billy Sheehan and see Robert Fleischman down there, as well as many others. And my good brother buddy Ron Keel's going to be there. So that should be really cool. Looking forward to it. Don't know where the new venue is. I saw it at a hotel last time we were there in 2021. And my buddy Mike Floros was there with his band, Steel City. And they did an acoustic set. And I was very honored to have him play my Ovation acoustic electric there that day. Worked out great for him. He was really happy with it. And which was given to me by Mili Matijevic. So pretty cool. One of these days soon, I will show you the coffee labels I did with Mili, and I'll go through those with you. So yeah, so again, folks, have a great night's rest. I know I need to get to it and get to mine. So so be sure to take care of yourselves and enjoy spring. Welcome to spring. It was beautiful today after the rain. So, but after that, everything was good. But we've had some beautiful days lately after this big, huge, nasty storm that we had. So, all right, so take care of yourselves. Remember, when you walk out the door every day, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So pay attention when you're in the passing lane. Get the passing done and get out. Talk to you later, people.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?